Welcome to the AW Services YouTube channel. Just an update on my ELECTRAQUIP R65 Amber beacon that I purchased from Beacons and Light Bars. In a previous video you would have seen me speaking about how disappointed I was that the metal bracket underneath had rusted out. But the overall quality and water, like weatherproofing of the beacon is phenomenal. It's never chipped. It's never had any condensation. There's a very minor piece of UV degradation on the top of the dome where that's gone slightly yellow, but overall the actual lens quality is as good as new. But my main concern was the bracket rusting out. I rang Beacons and Light Bars. They weren't able to supply any replacement parts. They prefer you to buy a new beacon. That's how the world is nowadays, throwaway society. I was going to get a new bracket made out of stainless steel, but I just couldn't be bothered. So I took the old bracket off the beacon. Let's just boost the exposure up. There we go. So this here bracket, this one here, is not what I'm talking about. This is a Rhino Delta bar bracket that I purchased additionally. But the actual bracket is this one here in shiny black. This had rusted out and gone really flaky and horrible. So I took it apart, took it off the beacon. I submerged it in acid, well, 80% white vinegar. I then took it out of that and allowed it to air dry completely. And I must admit, after I finished cooking a meal one evening, I threw it in the oven to really dry it out. Once it had dried out, I got to work with a wire brush, then a wire brush on a drill, and then I took to it with an angle grinder with 60 grit, then down to 40 grit, and sanded it completely. Once I'd done that, I then submerged that in a rust converter to stabilize the metal, to stop it rusting out anymore. I then went about with some alcohol, degreased it, and then I put some high build primer on there. Once I'd primed it and got it flat, I then went to work with some wet and dry sandpaper and really went to town on it. I mean, I was wet and dry sanding this for about 2 hours. I took all the edges off with a file, and then after that I degreased it, put it back in the oven for a couple hours to bake it, and then went about spray painting it with a black gloss paint. I then again chucked it in the oven for 20 minutes just to try and bake the paint, and I'm really impressed with the finish. If I had a DIY powder coater at home with an electrostatic gun, you can also bake in ovens, but they recommend that you use an oven that you don't use your food in. But I just repainted it, brought my beacon back to life, rewired it, and it's ready to go back onto my van. But that is the ELECTRAQUIP beacon. It's very good, it's very bright because it is R65 chapter 8. But I thought I'd just give a follow-up video on that. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to the channel, click the bell icon for notifications, give it a like, give it a share.